Alright guys, welcome back to another update. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to my members, shout out to my subscribers. Thank you guys for locking in with me. Let's get on into this thing. Let's slow it down just a bit because there's some things that I need to discuss so that we can make sure we're all on the same page. Got some things, some developments that has taken place. And I want to make sure you guys get that information so that as you follow this map, you'll have all the little psychological, intricate, manipulative, secretive, all the little stuff that you generally won't get. I want to make sure I give you all the little bits and pieces. All right. One of the main things we're going to have to do is start reading a lot of the dialogue. So, this is Lorali sending me a message. He said, "Are you planning to let Shigai in?" I said, "Not sure. What is his thoughts?" He says, "For me, it would be a good choice for now because I'm planning to go expand into the West so you guys can expand in Asia. But there are some big guys over there and an ally could help. Also, he is loyal. We have been allies since the beginning of the game. But we could also do that outside the coalition. Are there any reason for you guys to not let him in?" So Perth says he doesn't mind. Me personally, I do mind because, and I'll explain it to you once you see it on the map. I do mind because if I'm going to allow South French here, one thing you have to understand, I would never put myself in a weak position, guys. You understand what I'm saying? So when you come to Asia from Australia, the first thing you have to keep in mind is that you're going to need some land. There's no way you decide to move in on another continent and you don't plan on taking any land. That's not going to work out for you. So as I've come into Asia through South French Indochina and I'm merging my way to the left towards Shigai over here, as you can see, we cannot be friends with Shigai and South French Indochina, because then now what am I giving my guys when they come in? Where's the meat at? Where are we going to get our land? Shigai is going to go ahead and get the rest of this. South French Indochina, you're going to be grabbing this. Lorali is going to be grabbing this. So what am I coming into? So I have to, and I don't have any agreements with Shigai. So it makes no sense for me not to take that land over there. Plus it segues to where I want to go over here. So yeah, we're gonna, yes, I plan on taking that. So no, I don't think it'll be a good idea to include Shigai. So I wanted to just slow this down, guys, so you can understand what's going on this map. I did not speed this one up. I wanted to slow it down so we can really take a good look and understand what's going on. If you don't know what's going on up to this point, by all means, just go back to part 1 and work your way back down. South French Indochina, we made an agreement that he will allow me to cut through and get access into Asia. He has lived up to that agreement, so we have no issues with South French Indochina. Any questions, any concerns, leave it in the comment. Okay. Very important communication situation here, guys. Very important. Ceduna says South French Indonesia wants to join our coalition since Hunan is basically dead. What do you think? So the next time I respond to Ceduna is I tell him to kick Hunan out the coalition now, please. And you guys will see why. I'll explain that. And this is why if you're going to be the leader of a coalition, guys, you do have to be active. You have to be aware of what's going on with the entire coalition. You can't be asleep behind the wheel. So that's why I said I'm going to slow this down, and I want you guys to see how this thing unfolds. And I want your opinion on the decision that's got to be made. Now, this is Hanan right here. I can't attack Hanan right now because he's in our coalition. However, Hanan is finished. He's dead. He's lost all of his land on his mainland, so he's done. So right now, we need him to be removed from the coalition. Right now, he's a weak link at this point. So he needs to be removed from the coalition so that I can go ahead and take those pieces of land right there. As you can see, South Indochina has won that war between Hanan and himself. And so we have no choice but to go ahead and release Hanan. Now, I just sent Ceduna a message. See, this is the last little pieces. So you can see where this is the last few pieces of his nation. So he's done. So I sent Ceduna a message saying you need to go ahead and kick him out of the coalition so that I can attack him. Because I can't attack Hanan and take those last few pieces of land while he's still in the coalition. So this is where the coalition leader has to be aware of that. He should have been released him because he already see that he's pretty much dead. But I sent him a message saying, hey, go ahead and release Hanan, and let's see what happens from there. And to piggyback on what happened with the message earlier from Lorale about Shagai, he says, you know, how do I feel about Shagai? The reason why he's asking me about Shagai is because he already knows it makes sense for me to attack Shagai. It makes sense that any nation coming into Asia would need to go ahead and latch on, not to countries deep into Asia, but as soon as we get there in Asia, we need to be getting land and establishing some kind of some forts and some kind of resistance. Otherwise, we're like sitting ducks in Asia. So yes, we have to get some. It was either going to be South Indochina or it was going to be Shagai, one or the other. Good thing for South Indochina is that he made a good deal early. We communicated early, and he established that he wanted to be a part of the team and whatnot early, and so I made an agreement with him. And then I gave him a hard choice to let me cut through Asia, which I didn't know if he was going to agree to that or not. But he agreed to that, so that saved South French Indochina. But it's going to cost Shagai, unfortunately. Because I think Shagai is a good player. He is a highly ranked player. So I factored all of that in. But I'm going to go with my gut and say that South French will be a good ally, in that But the bottom line is we just need that land. This is the coalition meeting that we have, or the coalition messages that we can send to each other. Still waiting on Ceduna to send Hanan out of the coalition. You always want to peep in and look and see what other guys are doing. Mendoza and Rio Grande look like they're working together, which is a smart move. Eastern Cape is going crazy over there. This guy right here, Mercia, y'all keep that, y'all remember that name, because he's going to be somebody we have to deal with later. I'm almost sure of it. Mercia. Got a real good, strong team right now. I like the team I have right now. Everybody is pretty coherent, pretty active, except Ceduna right now. Ceduna kind of is doing his own thing, and that's why we had discussions earlier with Perth and Cairns about his removal from the coalition. I'm not quick to remove anybody from a coalition because I know that when you play this game and you get to this point in the game, you put in some work and you put in some time. And I don't like to just, I'm not the type to backstab somebody or nothing like that. I want to give everybody a fair opportunity, and I will always communicate with you to say, hey, listen, what's going on with you, and it's on you to take the, to get the hint and to understand that you have to, this is a map where you have to be active. You have to be on the same page as everybody else. So because they've already discussed with me some of my other coalition members that maybe we needed to get rid of Ceduna, I kept that in the back of my mind. Now I'm sending that message about Hanan needing to be kicked out of the coalition. I sent that into the coalition message so that everybody can see it, including Ceduna. So you can't say you missed it or you didn't see it or anything like that. And I do have to give him some time to maybe get back on the game and see the message. But the only thing I will say about it is that he should have never allowed Hanan into the coalition yet anyway. And number two, um, you know, you just have to be active and you have to make sure you don't end up being a weak link on this game. And right now, unfortunately, that's how it's looking for Ceduna. So when you're playing this game, guys, do not do what Ceduna has done. Number one, if you're going to be a coalition leader, be active and also make sure you vote and ask people's opinion about decisions you make, because it could bite you later. You know, him inviting Hanan into the coalition was not a decision that he should have made on his own. He didn't inquire, he didn't ask anybody or anything. He just went ahead and did it. Now it comes back to bite you because now I need you to remove him and you're not on the game. Or you may be busy at the time. But this is a time sensitive situation where I need those guys, I need Hanan removed. So it just puts him in a bad situation. And then you already got your coalition teammates already wanting you removed from the coalition anyway. So all I have to do is press the button and they ready to go in and take Ceduna out. So with all of those components, we've already had guys saying they wanted him out. So there's already been put out there already. So at this point, I'm going to make a decision probably to go ahead and get rid of Ceduna. I don't make these decisions lightly, guys, when you're a part of my coalition. I don't. But if you've been following the map, you know I've already spoke up for him to say, well, what did he do to deserve to be kicked out? But now, it's not a major error, but it is a critical error that he made, which warrants him being removed from the coalition at this time. And you notice before I make moves, guys, I consult with the other coalition members. And as you can see, I'm a little torn behind the situation. I'm not sure, but I might have to go ahead and agree with Karen's earlier assessment of Ceduna. I think this may have been a situation where Ceduna, he got into this coalition. He's surrounded by good players, and I think he got comfortable. And that's something you don't want to do, guys. Don't get too comfortable. You need to stay on top of your game. And it's nothing wrong. This is where I think Ceduna would have been very much in better shape. There's nothing wrong with being the leader of a coalition. But now, if you know that you're maybe a bit over your head a little bit as far as how to manage that situation, ask questions. Ask for advice. Sometimes you do got to humble yourself. And I think that's where he went wrong, was he just went ahead and just didn't know what the next step was. And the next step is to go into Asia and to build there and lead that charge. And he just wasn't, just ill prepared on those ends. as far as knowing what the next step is for the coalition. But then there's nothing wrong with asking and seeking some advice about it. As you can see, I'm up to 10 bombers now. So we just adding our bombers, but we protect our bombers at all costs. But we at number 10 now. So I want y'all to keep counting with me now. So I want y'all to see how I grow my airplane in my Air Force. That's my number. I love to use my airplanes. When I got airplanes in the air, you're finished. So I'm very superior when it comes to using these airplanes. So if you want to learn air warfare and how to maximize using these airplanes, this would be a good time to watch. So I'm at number 10 now. Just moving in on Mandalay. See, I don't have a whole lot of troops up in this area, but when you have 10 airplanes, 10 bombers, you can flex your muscle a lot, because they're going to tear down all these troops that try to come at you. So when you have that kind of air support this early in the game, you become very dominant, and you can move through, especially if you know how to move with these cars. If you've been watching my channel, you know what I do. You know how I feel about cars. I've already gave y'all the information as far as the fastest way to travel, depending on where you're at. If you're on land, if you're on the sea, what's the fastest way to do this and that? What's the fastest vehicle? These are the things that you should know. I go through all of these buttons. You should know what all of these buttons do. So if you've been watching my video, you should be a very, very astute. Shout out to the guys that's on this map with me now, that's playing with me. We're gonna make sure I highlight you guys. But as you can see, guys, Shagai has sent the application, but we just cannot accept Shagai into the coalition at this time, unfortunately. It's a tight membership, guys. Everybody can't get in. Look, you just can't pay for this membership. You got to be invited. You got to be invited. This is the 5-star general. We are elite, and we just cannot allow anybody to be a part of this team at this time. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. This map is interesting, though. It's shaping out to be an interesting map. A lot of different components to it. And look at this. See, this would be funny to me. Now, this is Shagai. He's telling me, "Hi, is it going well with Indonesia? Tell me if you need help." And this was gonna break his heart, what I just write right here. I say, "Okay, thanks, but we're no longer at war." See, Shagai had no idea that we had an agreement for me to come here. He didn't know that. So he's completely left out of what's really going on, and that's what's going to give me the ability and the element of surprise on Shagai. As you can see, I got Perth here, I got Cairns, so we got a whole lot of troops on their way. So that's going to be something that Shagai is not going to see coming because he didn't know about the agreement. You have to be. I'm a general. Guys, listen. They don't call me the Supreme Master for no reason. I am the Supreme Master when it comes to this thing here. That right there, what you just heard me just say right there. That's a ill. You go and just let's just see how it unfolds. But that's why he asked me the question about Indo. He's thinking me and Indo gonna go all the way into a whole war, not knowing not so. Not so. Want to start developing some of this land. Now that I established, I should be able to maintain that land without anybody taking it, or you know what I'm saying, having to fight for it. I think I should be in the clear. So we want to start building so that we can have some some more fighters and some more units coming out of that little strip. Because we don't want to have all our troops traveling from way out in Australia. That's way too far. So if I can get some stuff built up now, that's going to make a difference later on in this game. That's why you got to have land coming in. That's why I would not accept any deals that didn't include getting some land. Any questions, any concerns, leave it in the comments. Like the video if you can, guys. I'd appreciate it. Let me know that you're enjoying it and that you like the breakdown. This is a good full-length breakdown here, so I hope you guys are enjoying this one. But I thought it was important because there's a lot of little pieces that I don't want you to miss as this map begins to unfold. Everybody want to join the team, but I can't. That's where, like I say, you got to be careful when you accept somebody on your team. You can't just accept everybody because you may be giving up a real good spot for somebody that really, 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 really could help later on. So you don't want to fill up your whole roster. I don't believe it. I believe you need at least leave at least 2 spots available. I think when you have a coalition, because you never know, and it leaves room for you to be able to allow somebody else in. Still waiting on old Ceduna, y'all. I just want y'all to see now. It ain't. Still waiting on old Ceduna. I think I'm at Ceduna is not available. Scratch that. Let's just get right to it. Let's just get to it. Sometimes you gotta stop beating around the bush and you gotta make a tough decision. What do y'all think, guys? Is it time? Is it, do we need to get Ceduna out of there? What y'all think? Am I being too hard on him? Should I give him more time to catch up and figure out what, and respond? What y'all think? Was his adding Hanan and Lorali to the coalition a mistake without consulting the coalition? And now he's not, we need him to go ahead and kick Hanan out. He's not available. He's not growing as far as his bringing his troops to the Asian area. He went his own way. So he's not really following the coalition. What do you guys think? Is that enough to kick him out of the coalition? What y'all think? I've already received dissent and complaints from the other coalition members, and I took up for him, and I said, well, we don't have enough really to charge him with anything right now. So I felt we needed to just slow down a bit. But at this stage, yes, you have to be active, you have to be prepared, you have to be knowledgeable, and certain things you shouldn't even have to be told. And I think that's where I would say yes, Ceduna, if he would have just a little bit more communicate a little better, and if you need advice or if you're not sure what to do, nothing wrong with asking. So unfortunately, this is a part of the game. Now we're analyzing. You already know what time it is. It's time to move in. You already know what time it is. You know, I really like the addition of these heroes. When you really understand how these heroes work, you know, that's not a bad addition. It really ain't. You know, these guys add some really good additions to the game. They need to bring back the Zeppelins, and they need to bring back them Stormtroopers. That would be good too. Need more units now. I will say that. So they can bring back the Zeppelins and the Stormtroopers. Those were good additions. But I really like these heroes as well though. Alright guys, we're gonna close this thing out. Just wanted to make sure y'all knew what was going on. Keep y'all in the loop. And until next time guys, I will be right back at you.